rise to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilperson Schott, would you please lead us in prayer?
Yes. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings you provided to our communities, and we pray that you will continue to give us those blessings and that we will use them as you intended them. We ask that you protect our policemen, our firemen, and all of our employees as they perform their duties, and we ask that you bless all of our members of the community, the military, past and present, and we thank you for giving them courage to serve. Thank you for the blessing you've given us, and that you keep us ever mindful of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Would you wing it? But everybody, yeah, everybody's here tonight, so we will go right to the minutes.
Motion.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Abstain.
The bills?
Motion. Second.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Hourly workers' time report, was there one of them in there?
Yes, sir.
Fireman's time,
Motion. Second.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
when you're ready, Deb, you can do the clerk treasurer report.
I'd like council to encumber $1,980. $1,350 would go to Government Accounting Solutions. It's a company that does our work and our programming. It'd be the income tax software support for the next year. And the other item is a ProAir invoice for the fire department for their yearly service agreement for $630. Total of $1,980.
Motion. Second.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
I continue to work with the auditors to complete the last audit of 2016 and 17, and I'm working closely with ADR regarding the water assessment project. I don't know that Chief Dyke was going to make it this evening. Originally, you had approved $400 to repair the vehicle that was having problems with the transmission. We found out from the place he took it, it appears to be a wiring, and it could cost as much as $1,000. And told him to go ahead and give it approval, or it's gonna just sit there. So do you wanna approve the extra $600?
Make the motion.
Second. I'll second.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
We've been in contact now with the assessor agency. Each of the employees that are covered with the insurance, we have to go into the computer system, update our file, and then they can plan to make a meeting and come visit us and give us the detail on what it's changing for the next year. We received $7,072 from workers' compensation as a rebate because of the overage that was put in the accounts, and it gets split up to all the departments. The way it's paid is the percentage I put it back into the departments. We have two pieces of legislation. You have, the first reading of an ordinance that you have the solicitor prepare. It's your ordinance 1804. The only thing that the solicitor changed was on page 2 of the municipal service schedule M, the energy charge was brought back down to 0.11 cents per kilowatt. It was, I believe, at 15% or 15 cents. That was the only change. Now this, would you want this to be your first reading, or how do you want to do it?
Well, it was at 15 before, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I make a motion that we pass this on emergency.
So you're making a motion to suspend the rules?
Suspend the rules.
Second.
Bennett?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes,
And Schott?
No.
motion passed.
Second.
Bennett? Yes. Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes,
Schott?
No.
The second item is, I prepared this afternoon, is ordinance 1805. It's an ordinance to increase the 2018 appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the funds of the Village of Beach City, Ohio. It encumbers the D5 account for $25,889, which is money that the fire department received from a grant to purchase radios. And the G5 account is the money that I paid out and was reimbursed from OWDA for the lift station. It was in there, I spent it, okay? If we are going to need that money again for something else, I have to put it on the appropriations. This is a step that we take. We do an ordinance, then I send it to Stark County for approval, and then it goes on my book. So this can be our first reading. And then the only thing I have is when you get to the village administrator, I have some items for Mr. Lambert.
Thank you, Deb. Nobody here to speak tonight, so we'll go right to the fire department. Do you have anything for us tonight, Chief Anderson?
Yes, sir. Year-to-date, fire department's run 145 calls. That's compared to 153 at the same date this time last year. June was an extremely busy month for us. We ran a total of 35 calls in June. I'm happy to say we covered most of them. A lot of them were day shift calls. We had 23 transports, which is phenomenal, especially for us. So, I mean, that's just something to look at. We were pretty busy. Thank God it's back down a little bit now in July. So, the Life Pack 15 we got with the grant, the 25,000 Debbie was just talking about. It is in service. It's in our new squad in 136 of 2014. It's running, it's doing good. We had to have them come down and program it, stuff that's all done. We had a little snafu with a cord we forgot to buy, and it's already been paid for. It was an extra $100 that was an oversight on our part because we thought the charge would come with it, but it didn't. We also received another EMS training grant. I don't have the exact numbers. Dale just told me about it the other day. I know it's in the upwards of $6,000. That will be used just as we did with the EMR class. It's for training or approved EMS supplies. It's a reimbursement grant. And like I said, it's right around 6,000 we just got from them. That's from the state of Ohio again. The regional FEMA grant for the rest of our Marks radios is still active. FEMA's been behind this year for whatever reason. They actually just released the first round last Friday. We did not get it in the first round, but we also did not get a denial letter. So that's still a good thing. So we're still in the running for that, and we drastically need that to get the rest of our radios so we can go active on the Mark system here in the near future. Engine 131, we approved the money several months ago to get the equipment for that. The money was dispersed. All the orders been done. slowly but surely, pieces and parts are coming in. I'm hoping here in the next few weeks, 131 will be back up fully operational and in service. And we're gonna start on the SOPs to start running that truck again. Like I said, we got about half the equipment, still about half yet to come in. I think some of it's on back order through Findlay Fire, so. One thing I'm gonna ask for here in the near future, I was gonna do it tonight. Stark State did not get back to me with a price. Eric Vukovic is a newer firefighter with us. I need to get his TNI, his 36 firefighter training. Stark State has a class coming up in the fall. I believe it starts September 8th. I'll come back with a price on that. I was hoping to do that tonight, but I don't have a price, so I'm not even gonna attempt to guess a price. Just so you know, that's gonna be coming. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be upwards of $1,000, $1,300 for training. And he's gotta have it. One thing I will say, and I know is weighing on your mind, EMR class, we will not do any more trainings without them signing a paper first. The paper was not available when we started EMR class, unfortunately, and I understand the predicament we're in now, and I've already talked to Debbie about both them individuals before the meeting tonight, so. What I am asking for tonight, money-wise, it's actually a total of $710, and it breaks down as follows. We have 2 new members. Kim Weaver has run with our department before. She's currently an EMT, also a firefighter. She's certified in both. We need to get a background, FBI, BCI background check for Miss Weaver at $55. We had a brand new member apply, Tyler Vogt. Am I saying that right, Mayor?
Vogt.
Vogt. Tyler's seems very committed, very determined, really nice guy. We also need to get his FBI, BCI background check so we can get moving with him at another $55. The 3 trucks, the 2 squads and a brush truck are due for maintenance. It's that time, oil changes and such. I don't see any problems with either squad. I think them will be pretty cut and dry, just a general service oil change. So you're looking for 35, being just a diesel, you're probably gonna talk about $300 is where we were at last year. 136, you can half that, maybe even more than half that, being it's a gas engine. 139, we're having some issues with 139. When it warms up, it wants to shut off on us. I don't know if it's a sensor. I've talked to Deb about it. We've babied it through until council meeting tonight. We need to get whatever it is fixed while it's in the garage though. So it may be a little bit more money. I'm estimating 39 at 150. I don't know what we're gonna run into. I'm hoping it's something silly and something cheap.
What garage is that at?
We are gonna send them all to Ziegler. We went to Parkway last year. If you remember the fiasco we had with Parkway, they told us we had all that damage to the front of our squad. Went and got a second quote and it wasn't. So we're gonna stick with Ziegler. He treated us pretty good last year. He got us up and running pretty cheap. So total for the 3 trucks maintenance and the 2 background checks is, like I said, $710. That's all I need
Motion.
money-wise.
I'm sorry, it's a motion by McKinney and second by Bennett,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
And Schott.
Yes.
One question I got on the max thing, I see where they're gonna get us for another $200,000 to $250,000. Hopefully the state's gonna cover that. But did you see it in the paper?
No, I did not.
Well, it was in.
What are we talking again?
The price for the max radios.
Oh, the Marks radio?
Marks radios, yes.
I hope
They
not.
estimate a little bit too little.
Well, I hope not. I mean, that's,
We had that price locked in that they gave
yeah,
us.
the price was locked in until a certain date, and that's why we did what we did to get the radios under the
Ours is
marshal.
gonna stay at the $10 after 2 years. But the total radio thing, $250,000.
Well, hopefully the commissioners take care of that, I hope. If not, I mean, they kinda unfortunately got us by the hair right now. I don't know what we're gonna do. Everybody's slowly but surely going to Marks. The Marks platform's starting to be operated. They're running into problems with it, so I don't know how long it's gonna be before they fix all them. The only thing we're holding on, we have our radios, they're in stock, they're at Staley's. We're not getting them because they're not programmed. If we would've had them programmed before Marks went live, they would've programmed for free. Once Marks went live, they all had to go back and be reprogrammed. It'd have been money out of our pocket, so it was silly to do it. Our UHF system for us works, sufficient. So right now, that's where we're sitting, we're kinda in limbo, waiting on this FEMA grant to see, and hopefully get the rest of our radios, or we're gonna have to cough up some money to get more radios. But, we're just kinda holding our breath and hoping FEMA pulls through for us, so. And I think it will. I mean, you got 6 departments in on this grant. That's a lot of communication equipment. Usually they go with a regional grant a lot quicker, so hopefully they'll pull through. But yeah,
The
that's
ARC
the first I
system's
heard
supposed to go, was it January of 2019?
January 2019 is the tentative date for it to go live. They're actually starting to use some of the system now and trying to work out all the bugs by January 2019. Yes.
Going back to the EMS grant and the training, and I'm just curious, will that cover Mr. Vukovic's schooling or not?
No, it will not, because it's gotta be EMS related.
Got it,
If,
okay.
if you remember the EMR, let me take it back a little bit. The last year's EMS grant was for $2,000 roughly. I don't know the exact amount. At the time, the dummies were ordered. I was ensured that they were covered. Well, we got a letter later after we bought them that they wouldn't reimburse us. This is where the EMR class come into play, because if we didn't do something, we lost that $2,000. So we sent 6 people total to EMR class. The way it all worked out, I apologize, I was not here when that was handled, I was at work. And unfortunately, yeah, it's put us in a predicament. Like I said, I've talked to Debbie, I've already talked to both individuals, and we kinda know, me and Debbie know where we're at, and we know what we gotta do. They're both very aware, you know, they're gonna have to pay that money back, so, and they need to do it in a timely fashion. I don't know what else to say. You know, I've talked to both of them. I just talked to the one today, and I've talked to the other one numerous times, so. But that's kind of what, this grant is the same thing.
EMS.
Right, it'll provide us certain
Unified.
equipment and training. If we would have somebody wanna go through EMT school, would be ideal. And I haven't even really brought it up to the guys over there, just because we've been so busy with with the festival this weekend and stuff. We haven't really talked about it too much, so it just got awarded.
Okay.
But, the only other thing I got is going back to the festival. Obviously, the festival's this Saturday. Everything gets kicked off at 4. Remember, we're gonna be closing the roads down. We got the car show, the poker run, everything we normally have. Hopefully the bike thing goes well, that you guys have put together. Hopefully we turn quite a few people in the parade. I know the weather ain't supposed to be too cooperative, unfortunately, but hopefully that'll change, so. But, that's it. Oh, my surgery. I told you guys I'd be out.
Mhm.
My surgery is August 8th. I will continue to do my administrative part of the fire service. I will not be able to run calls. I will be on light duty, but I will handle all of this stuff.
We'll just put you in the ambulance and carry you out
I
there.
wish I could, but as soon as I sign that paper and you pay me for that call, Timken's gonna knock on my door, so probably not a good idea. But I will definitely keep up with my administrative stuff that I need to, and, the rest of the stuff will rely on our guys, and I'm sure we got it covered, so. That's all I got.
Very good. Thank you, Chief Anderson. Do we have anything from the police department this evening?
No.
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay.
Chief wants nothing.
Okay. I wanna get with you afterwards, see me afterwards before.
Okay.
I can't believe Chief's not here to tell us he wants something.
His sewer pipe broke. So he's
Oh.
digging a hole.
I can't believe he didn't send donuts.
I know, right?
Well, if he doesn't bring them, you're supposed to.
I didn't get that memo. I apologize. I will have that fixed next month.
They
There
have
will be.
donuts across the street.
The council is losing weight at an alarming rate.
You don't need no donuts.
He's
It
the one
isn't a
he's
question of
talking
need,
about.
it's a question of want.
All right, what, moving on,
Yes.
what do you have, Deb, from, VA Lambert?
I didn't talk to VA Lambert, but I went over the things we've been working on and what the departments were doing. ADR continues to work with the water assessment project. They were supposed to try to meet up with employee tuning today. He didn't get to see them, but we're in communication between emails to making sure they're getting all the documents that we have to provide for them, the project. He told me that, and he, with the Lonnie Tuning, that he had to call Wood Electric in, that Lambert didn't know about it at this time. They was in a week or so ago that I did a PO, but something else happened with the controls, so we had to call Wood Electric in today. He did talk to VA Lambert about, a gentleman by the name of Dave Stout. He used to run a company, or work for a company that did the water, leak detection. He branched out on his own. He's worked here before, and, Donnie wasn't here today to give him the PO. I gave him a PO number and told him to hold off until you voted on it. The man is going to charge us, approximately $1,200 to come in and test our lines, and that's figuring if he works at seven to 8 hours. It's $475 for the first hour, and then $100 for every hour after that. He said we're losing water at a fast rate right now. They've got to find, there's a leak somewhere, they need to find it. Something happened just,
Is it leaking again?
I have no idea.
Okay, because
Some-
Donnie had kind of slowed that down somehow.
Yes, and I-
Now it's leaking again.
It's something.
Probably a new one.
Something happened. So I told him, I gave him the PO, but I told him I'd let you know and have you vote on it. If he wanted you to vote on that tonight, to give him permission to go ahead, bring this gentleman in to find the leak.
I make a motion.
I'll second
Bennett?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Does the guy have any idea exactly where he's going to go?
Well, he won't know until he starts using the equipment and listening for the water rushing. He
Does this
listens-
thing go all over, he goes all
He
over
goes
town?
all over our lines and looks for it, using the equipment.
See, I thought it was going the other way.
Equipment dies.
It
Well,
was.
this has to be a new leak,
This is new.
because
This is
it was
something-
coming down.
This is new. This is something that I think just happened not long ago.
Probably fix the other ones in the pressure.
Pressure blew it
Blowing
up.
up another
Yeah,
one.
you never know, yeah, that could be.
If this leaking water's gotta run down the ground, because if it's coming up, somebody would see it.
Well, we would see it if it was coming up, yeah.
In Control is a company that's working with us on the SCADA systems for the sewer and water. They are going to be coming in and going like a fact-finding mission to get everything prepared, so when they come back, they can start hooking this up or whatever they do for these systems. The department continues to work with Mr. and Mrs. Bowers, both electric department and water at this time. The property on Third Avenue, it was given, I believe, the address of 124 Third Northwest. They paid the first phase of the electric, which the men have set up to work on this project, and it came to a little over $3,000 for phase one. Lonnie provided me with a document this afternoon to buy the tap that they're looking for, they're requesting, using the equipment and how everything's set up in our book now to charge for taps. The water tap's gonna be a little over $6,000. But they want a bigger tap, they don't want a standard tap.
In case they gotta build more places. back
Well,
there.
they wanna put in, what's a normal size, was it 2-inch size pipe normal?
Well, normal right now is
Okay,
2 inch.
they're going bigger. They're going to bigger.
Where's this property?
The 5 acres of ground down the street from you, on the other side.
In behind Donna, do you know where Donna Messo lives?
No.
You know where you turn at the light, you know where Rick's son lives in the trailer?
Yeah.
You can look back in that field,
Mosley
To the left,
farmed that thing for
Oh,
30
okay.
years.
that's where they're going to build their home.
Oh, somebody's building something back there now, looks like a
A
garage or
garage.
something.
That was the
Okay,
garage.
that's where it's at,
That's-
okay, I
That's,
got it.
that's Bob's garage. Lonnie and, Mr. Blytho went to see
What's
Mr.
the other
Bowers
business?
before work was over today,
What's
to
the
let
other
him know.
business?
It's $6,184.32, and that is, like I said, getting all the equipment, that is, using the equipment, getting the type of tap that's required for the size of pipe he wants, and then billing it according to what they had available, which would be the rate of pay, but they didn't figure out any of the
Do we
price.
have a sewer tap there? I think we put one in for that piece of ground.
As far as the sewer tap, they thought that there was one paid for. Utility clerk, Mrs. Willis, went through all her books, everything she had in that. She found out where Mr. and Mrs. Menser paid
Right.
their home, but not down on on 23rd. So
I'm
the-
sure we put a tap in there, even though they didn't pay. We always, then you have to pay later for it, if you don't pay.
Don't know.
It'd be on the books down at the Board of Public Affairs.
Oh, the Board of Public Affairs books are here, and we saved them from going in the trash, and Cindy went through all the receipts. From that era, there was no receipt from the Messers for that property, for their house on Main Street, but not on
I got to
Third.
talk to Lonnie to see whether he found it,
I talked to Lonnie.
that there isn't. There might be a tap, because it had to go across the road. All the taps had to go across the road from the right side to the left. I'm sure we put a tap for that area, that opening, there's 60-foot opening there. Oh, okay.
Let's see. Oh, in talking to, Mr. Andrews, they've been working in and out of town. They are now currently doing, line clearance, I believe, in town, and they've been, like I said, working with, Squirrel Guard and for the Bowers. Squirrel Guard.
He got to be older the other day too, he had a birthday Saturday.
Oh. And that's all that I have on for DA Lambert right now.
Okay, thank you very much. Stephen, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, just real quick. Last week, a resident came in with regard to 212 North Church Street about an issue. And I know the general question was what can be done or what the village can do. So I looked into it with people that represent the land bank and also people in our office that represent the treasurer about what does it take to get the delinquent taxes on the radar. And there's two ways that the village could go about it. It's not really the village, it would have to be the resident or it would be the land bank. One would be if the resident is concerned and interested in the property, he or she can fill out a paper that identifies himself as interested and agrees to buy that property at delinquent tax or fair market value at an auction. And then my understanding is the treasurer will institute some action on it.
And if somebody else comes up, when it goes up for auction, the other people could get it, because I did one. And what happened, I had the people at the courthouse tell me, Bailey, if somebody else outbids you, they're gonna pay what you paid us to get this up here. Because it was up for auction once, and to get it up the next time, I paid to have it done. So I know what you're talking about, but they protect me up there.
Yeah, and I think you have to put a deposit of $750 down, and then I believe the $750 goes, provided you go and buy it, it goes towards the purchase price. So that's what the owner can do, or any interested property owner. I guess it's not even countywide. I could go file it if I wanted to buy that parcel.
Could we as a village do it?
You could, but then you'd have to take over the property if it went. And if the village is going to do something about it, the better path might be to contact regional planning, who's running the land bank. And the village can make a request to the land bank to institute a foreclosure through the Board of Revision. And in that case, the village wouldn't have to, there wouldn't be any money that you'd have to put up front. It's my understanding it would be done by the land bank. And then at the end of that, the village could get the property, or the adjoining owner might get the property. But that's what they're in the business of doing, is distressed parcels, trying to buy those or clean them up. They'll work with you to do it.
In other words, the city wouldn't have to go up there and bid on it then. Is that what you're saying?
Right, that's my understanding, but just, I mean, they have like, adjoining property owners can take it. I think there's a whole list of options that can be done, but.
Well, we are an adjoining property owner.
Right, but the lady that was here is not, because don't we own a strip in between the two?
I don't think so. We own just that lower part down there, up to the roadway here on, what's this? Second.
That's it.
Second down, and then just that square section at the bottom. That's all we own. We don't have an outlet down there anywhere.
I think we do.
No.
No, there's only one outlet.
It's up
So-
here on Second,
Yeah.
where the road is cut off. That is our only
Did Beach
outlet.
City not buy that little piece of right of way between
No.
that house and the other one?
No.
You talking about the building we tore down?
Yes.
We got money for it to tear it down. The rest of it you have to check on.
Yeah, somebody said we didn't buy that.
I didn't
Does it
think
show
you
it on
did.
the,
We just had.
I mean, we obviously own the adjoining land behind it.
Right behind
Yeah.
it. So we do adjoin.
Right, yeah.
Here is paperwork from when we went to that thing where you gave a
Oh, yeah.
class. Because we were in a thing that talked about,
Yeah, land revitalization.
yeah, that was one of the classes. And Hazel and I, were you in that one?
No,
Might have been Jack.
That was the day I threw your stuff and your name
That's
tag
right,
away.
My name tag was in the tray.
Yeah, but really, it's like a stop loss, because if the village is cutting that grass and then billing it to the tax duplicate, but the taxes are delinquent, nobody's ever gonna pay it, it's gonna just constantly be eating up money. It might be better to find a path that, you know, even if the parcel has to be purchased, it could later be sold. That, like I said, another
that would
problem.
give us another entrance to that property.
Well, that's what
Because
the
this
guy.
one here on Seconds, you're never gonna be able to use that entrance there unless you can,
You'd have to fill up a whole lot of stuff.
That's what the guy did, come in here, wanted to buy the whole thing. He thought about buying that where the trail was at.
Yeah, and pushing all that dirt down there to
Yes.
fill up the
Yes.
holes.
Here it is. Where's the trailer?
The trailer is,
These are the people that put it in.
no,
The issue.
yeah, right here.
Oh, okay, so that is it. And then we own this one.
We own that, but I was, who owns this? 462.
Same people.
Okay, so
These are both.
So
Oh,
both
that
those-
guy in the trailer got that then?
both, okay.
After we tore it
yeah.
down?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, he bought the land. Or
So
had-
he owns the right of way there where the old building was and where the trailer is.
I
And then
think
we
he
own all
owned it
this.
at the time we took it
You know,
down.
I forgot
and
about
both
that.
of them are both delinquent?
I'm sure if one is.
Oh, yeah, that would give you guys, street
Both parcels.
both parcels, but also access, right now you're landlocked.
Right, yeah.
Let's go ahead and go after both of them. We'll be done with it then. We can always turn around and sell them. Is that okay?
Well, what I was going to do is, I could give you the, contact at regional planning, if you wanted to contact
Okay.
them.
Lynn Carla?
What's that?
Lynn Carla?
No, Bob Now.
What does the rest of the council wanna do, by the way? You wanna go after it?
Sounds fine to
I
me.
mean, we don't wanna start something.
Or just
Council
raise
don't-
some money mowing it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we could either develop it or sell it.
Well, if we did that, we could do away with the trailer then too. Okay.
And you could get the information and see if it's something you wanna do. It's, 330-451-7389.
What's this gentleman's name?
His name, and it might be someone else, he's the director of it. His name is Bob Now, N-A-U.
And what would I be inquiring about?
If you prefer, I could call him, I'm not trying to push it off, but it would just be, explaining what the situation is, if there's this parcel that's distressed, and asking how it can go through the land bank, for the village to either take title to it, or.
If you could call him, I'm sure you would be more,
Yeah, if you want me to, I can.
more, know what you're talking about.
Do you need a motion on that,
Yeah,
Debbie, to
make-
go ahead with it?
I'll just,
Legally.
I was gonna do that.
If you don't, it's okay.
I'll make a motion that we, look into obtaining those properties.
Let Steve go ahead and do it then.
I'll second it.
Bennett?
Yes.
Thayer?
Yes.
Hartman?
Yes.
McKinney?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
And Schott?
Yes.
and I don't have anything else.
All right, very good. Your food on Facebook looked good the other night, by the way.
Oh my gosh. Smoked reverse seared steak. Out of this world.
Deer steak,
No, ribeye. Bone and ribeye.
It was good, it looked good.
beer steak.
Oh, beer.
All right, do we have anything else that we needed to cover tonight? I do want to mention, I had a mayor of a local, of a adjoining, or not adjoining, of another community that's close to us, get a hold of me, reached out to me about talking to them about somewhere down the road supplying us with water. VA Lambert has been out for a while, so I told the mayor that I would get back with him once Dave Lambert comes back and we can sit down. They do think that their water plant is sufficient enough to supply us.
Mayor, we'd have to do that before the contract with Canton, right? Because we don't want to get stuck with them for another 20 years.
Well,
You know what I'm
you're right.
saying? Yeah, so.
The problem is actually going to another village and running pipe work. You're talking about a big
About $2
time
million
period.
worth
Well,
of pipe work.
money and time wise. I mean, obviously the thing from Canton's gonna come up before that.
Okay.
So what we might try to do is negotiate a shorter contract
Right,
with
okay.
Canton.
See how that.
To see, you know, if we could,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
this basically is just, he, said he wanted to sit down with VA Lambert, myself, their water people, their engineers, and just
That
talk,
sounds
just a
good.
preliminary, you know, nothing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So,
Yeah, I get tired of Canton raising it every other year, it seems like.
Every year.
And
Yeah,
this is one of the
8%,
things we have to
8%.
pursue for that water assessment too. So that will go into that file.
Yeah,
for
plus
ADR.
it's crummy water.
Yeah, it's horrible.
so we'll see what, I will keep you posted on that. And when we do go to meet, if anyone wants to go and sit in and listen in, that'd be fun. Alright. Anybody got anything else?
We went and gathered up our votes for, the, 2019 festival, that you'd asked that we do.
Mhm.
And so we gathered those up, Mr. McKinney and I sat down and counted them, and we had 6 no's and 59 yes.
That's great. That is
There you
great.
are.
6 no's. 6 no's.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
It's very encouraging.
And also we,
This is-
Debbie, I think Debbie's the one, got a hold of, Marcia, and had the trophies made up. This is the smallest, and we had 3 of them, because she doesn't do any ribbon. So we were gonna have these for the youngsters when they have a parade back.
This is for bike decoration, correct?
That's all I
Who
have.
judges that?
Would you like?
No.
There you go.
That's yet to be
I
determined.
just happened to think about it, people.
Oh, well, I'm working on that. I
Okay.
have 1 right now,
Oh,
and
that's
2,
okay.
I'm waiting on Paul for 2 others. But we'll take 4 if you wanna help.
No.
There you go. Yeah.
Is Connie gonna be in town this weekend?
Should be.
Cause she'll be watching from her porch, I'm sure. Former Mayor White,
Yeah.
maybe, try to get a hold of her and see if she'd be interested in judging? Yeah.
We're gonna have the judges down in front of the firehouse. I haven't talked to the fire chief yet.
That's fine, that's where ours are for the rest of the stuff anyway, so.
Pretty that big.
That's because that's where the big stuff happens, is downtown.
That's where you're always standing in the parade. I throw
No,
candy at you.
No, that's in front of my.
And since
Oh.
our friend Hazel
It's in my
did not
ex-husband's
wanna
house.
do it,
It's gonna be the 3 of us, I thought, and
well, I don't wanna judge, because I don't wanna aggravate parents more than I do anyhow. But Hazel, since this was her idea, was supposed to pass out the trophies, but she didn't wanna do it, so she put it off on Jack.
She asked me if I would be willing to do it. I got your back, Hazel.
Also, little, backup information, that, wireless unit goes in effect on
Okay. We have our notice out. I sent the notice to, the state, letting them know about the ordinance, and then we'll have to, 45 days, I think, we'll toll in probably a week or 2. And, then we'll have to pass another ordinance that includes all the revisions from, I think it's municipal.
Hazel, thank you for your efforts in this festival and Rod as well, and everyone from the thing for the fire department. I hope we get a lot of kids participating. It would be nice to see, because this parade's kind of, there ain't as many, even the Halloween parade last year, there wasn't near as many. So it'd be nice to see the participation back up again. So, Thank you.
You're-
Nobody has anything else, meeting is adjourned.